Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. It is Wednesday, June 6th. Frank Granito in studio alongside Kevin Coleman as we continue on in the final week of this sports year. Semifinals for lacrosse and baseball coming up tonight. We had a couple of big games last night in semifinals for girls lacrosse. Of course, a girls golf championship, so another FCIAC title taken home. So a lot going on, Kevin, and more success for the FCIAC. More
success, too, at Richfield High School. How about those Tigers last night with a big overtime win in girls lacrosse? What did I say? Lexi Held was the big name to look out for yesterday. What did she do? She made a clutch save in overtime, which led to Caroline Colonel getting the game winner in extra time for the Tigers to move on to the state final, where they'll play New Canaan. And another shocker, too, as they take down Darien.
First time in 107 Class L opponents that Darien has lost. It is the first championship game in Class L for New Canaan as well as the Ridgefield Tigers. And for more on those Ridgefield Tigers, we are happy to welcome the athletic director at Ridgefield, Dane Street, to Nutmeg Sports now. Good afternoon, Dane. Thank you for taking time with us, and congratulations on a huge girls lacrosse victory.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
We're always happy to have you on, and I mean, it is a good time to have you on. We were just talking before the show. It's a little busier for you than it is a lot of your colleagues at some of the other schools in the state right now. I mean, another great spring season for Ridgefield, Dane.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a long journey for some of our teams. Across the state, I think everybody had a little bit of difficulty weather-wise this spring, but we persevere, and here we are in the last week, championship week, and we still got a lot of teams in action. So it's a fun time.
Dane, you were at the game last night at Brian McMahon for Ridgefield Cheshire. Walk us through those final minutes of regular time. Ridgefield scores with 4.9, maybe 5 seconds left or so. Gagnon gets that big game-tying goal to force overtime. Just walk me through what the emotions were like in the stands, on the field as well last night.
Yeah, well, I was up in the stands last night, and I kind of positioned myself between our fans and the Cheshire fans, and it is crazy to see the swings of emotion, but at the end of the day, I think that's what sports fans are in it for, right, is the agony and the ecstasy. And so for it to swing as much as it did right towards the tail end of the game, it certainly makes for an exciting finish. I think when Cheshire got their final tally with right around a minute left to go in the game, I mean, it certainly was it took the wind out of the Ridgefield fan sails, but then sure enough, they found a way to answer, and Alyssa with 4.9 seconds left, it ties it up. So it was really a lot of fun in the stands, and then certainly the overtime winner was just great. And even in that overtime period, just over a minute of action, they had a great chance that, as you mentioned in the intro, Lexi Held came up with a huge save, and then who else? Caroline Colonel, and trying to extend her tremendous athletic career here at Ridgefield High, and so win or lose on Saturday, she gets to go out playing in a state championship game, and so for her personally, that's it's certainly something special.
It's only fitting, and we talked about it earlier in the week how playing in her final season, everything now could be her final game at Ridgefield, and it's tough to really pick against her with the way she has led all of these teams now. Her third year as a varsity captain, or third season as a varsity captain this year. For you as an athletic director, what does it mean to have a leader like that within your department and leading 3 of your different programs?
Well, it's tremendous. The leadership is something that we talk about a lot, is what makes a good leader. And you can talk about it, you can try to, educate kids on what being a good leader is, but when the rubber hits the road, some kids have it and some kids don't. And so Caroline is certainly a kid who has it. She comes ready to play every day. She works hard at practice. She sets the right tone on the field. She doesn't let adversity affect the way that she competes. And just having her, her fingerprints and her influence on 3 of our programs is tremendous, and I think that's something else worth noting is, the 3-sport athlete is sometimes a rare thing these days. And so for someone to do it, not just do it competitively, but to do it at an elite level in high school here has been great. And like I said, she's definitely influenced the programs that she's been a part of. And so that'll carry on even after she's no longer part of the team. It'll be something that we'll hopefully see that success continue into future seasons.
And that is such a big thing. So many times on the FCX tour when we're talking with captains, they talk about what they learned when they were freshmen and sophomore from their previous captains. And you know Caroline is certainly leaving a lasting impact on these younger groups now. But, you know, the team as a whole really has exceeded expectations the past 2 years now, reaching their first ever FCX championship game, and now this year their first ever state title game. What does it mean to you to see another one of your programs starting to excel at the highest level?
Well, you could see it coming. For me, it's only year 2, so I haven't seen all the build, but certainly the CC Berger era in Ridgefield is alive and well. You know, certainly advancing last year, as you mentioned, and this being their first finals appearance. I think it's worth noting, though, that they weren't without their trials this year. I mean, they struggled a little bit in some of the games in the regular season, and so the mindset is really important. And Coach Berger and I talk a lot throughout the season about, and all of my coaches really, about playing your best at the right time of the year, right? And whether or not you're the number 1 seed getting into a tournament or the number 32 seed, if you are playing your best at the end of the year, you got a chance. And so, you know, we did have a successful regular season, coming in as the 6th seed for those girls, but ready to make some noise. And as one of the articles that I was reading today said, they're battle tested, and it's true. You know, playing in the FCX day in and day out, you know, it really does prepare a team for postseason play, and especially a tournament run in the Class L tournament, which is no draw is an easy draw. So you got to be ready to go out there and give it your best effort every day. And we were fortunate enough yesterday to take care of business and move on and be playing on the last day of the season. So it's pretty exciting for our girls.
Dan, another team that's battle tested that has an opportunity to make a trip to the state championship game is the boys lacrosse team. Coach Colsey and the Tigers tonight taking on number 7 Glastonbury. What are you expecting from the Tigers tonight?
Well, I expect that they'll come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. You know, the Tomahawks knocked us out of the tournament last year, and those aren't things that people forget about. So I think the boys will be coming in ready to go. You know, it's great to have Gatto back in the lineup. He's only a few weeks into his season right now, so I'm sure he'll be fresh and fired up and ready to play. There's a ton of leadership on that team. I mean, this is a team with 13 seniors. They're experienced. You know, they've been down the playoff road a number of times, and so you better believe that those guys want to end their high school careers in a state championship game too. So I'm sure that our guys will be ready to go. And, you know, I was talking to Coach Colsey about what makes it so special, and that's what he mentioned first was the leadership from this group of seniors, that they've just been tremendous all year long. But he also singled out, you know, Noah Isaacson, who's been a phenomenal defensive player and probably isn't getting, you know, as much press as some of the guys putting up big numbers on the offensive side. But, you know, Noah's done a great job all year of shutting down whoever the best player is on the other team. And so, you know, we'll be looking for a big defensive effort from him tonight. And then you got, you know, Gatto, Gatos, Reed Kagan. These guys will take care of business on the offensive end, and we'll hopefully we'll put our 3rd team into the final.
I mean, you mentioned it there, though. A player like Noah Isaacson, another one of those multi-sport athletes, Reed Kagan, Luke Gatos. Obviously, it was very difficult at times during the season with Gatto out for injury. I mean, there's got to be a tremendous sense of pride, not only for you, but for Coach Colsey, and seeing the rest of that senior unit and some of the younger guys step up in his absence and keep Ridgefield in the FCX hunt throughout the entire regular season and really develop into legit players of their own as they got into this state tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said before, like, teams have to deal with adversity, and injuries are a part of the game. And so certainly you don't ever want one of your players to go down, any of your players to go down. But when it's somebody like Greg who brings so much to the table, it does leave a big hole to be filled. And in some ways it can be a blessing in disguise, because those younger guys who maybe wouldn't have gotten their minutes had he been in the lineup every day did get a lot of minutes this year. And so they're ready now too. So whether they need to step in a playoff role here in some manner, or, you know, even looking forward to the future, guys that got more varsity minutes this year than anticipated, it'll pay off for them. So, you know, it comes back to that program mindset of always being ready, not only for right now and the next game, but building a program that can just, instead of rebuilding after a graduation year where we lose 13 seniors this year, hopefully we're not rebuilding. We're just going to be reloading, right? And these kids that are younger are ready to step in and do the job. So it's definitely, you know, it's an interesting development. We never would have wanted a player like Gatto to be out for the majority of the season, but time, like I said, he's fresh too. I mean, doesn't have anywhere near as many miles in his legs this spring at this point as he did last year. So hopefully he's got a little pep in his step and can lead our Tigers tonight. You
talk about overcoming adversity. You've got one more team playing in a state semifinal tonight. I know you spoke with a couple of our HAN interns, and we're going to run that interview later in the week. But any final words here before we let you go? Wishing luck or advice for the baseball team who will look to advance to the state championship in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, it's another great run. This is a team that made it to the state semis last year, and as we always talk about, or I always talk about with coaches at the end of each season, is how can we do one step further? So for them, a state finals appearance would be one step further, and hopefully they're able to do that tonight. I mean, again, another team with some strong leaders. You got seniors, Matt Stamatis, Pete Columbia, Alex Price, Jake Arts, all great leaders and able to keep our Tigers focused. And then, of course, you got the sophomore DeLuca, who's thrown a couple of gems this year. And, so pitching is so important, and we're pretty stacked up on it. So hopefully we can get it done over the last couple of games here. But, I mean, tonight will be tough. Amity's a legitimate program, too, and has quite a bit of success. And so it should be a great game up there at Waterbury tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
It would be very impressive to put 4 teams into a state championship game, and I can confidently tell you that at least one of us will be rooting for the Tigers in that girls lacrosse championship, but no guarantees on 2 for that one.
We're going to win you over one of these days, Frank.
I'm a former girls lax manager for Kristen Woods. I watched a lot of heartbreaks, so I think I'm on board with the Rams for that one. Dane, thank you so much for taking time with us today. Always great talking with you, and we want to wish you and the school best of luck through the rest of this week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk soon. That was Dane Street, the athletic director for Ridgefield High School. We got to take a quick break on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, Dave Stewart of the New Canaan Advertiser is going to join us, talk more about that huge win for the New Canaan Rams girls lacrosse team last night. That's next on Nutmeg Sports.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Well, if you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Bay Star and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866. If you
want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Our Ram trucks get the job done with unparalleled style and performance. Call, click, or stop in to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck that you've been looking for. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Save thousands right now at the Jeep Celebration event and Chrysler Pacifica Incredible Sales event. Now through June 30th.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Thank you again to Dane Street for joining us. We are now joined via phone by the sports editor of the New Canaan Advertiser and Darien Times. He is Dave Stewart, and we're happy to have him on Nutmeg Sports. Dave, you were in person to witness what many would consider a shocker last night. Finally, the Lady Rams from New Canaan getting to take down their rival Darien in girls lax. I mean, give me your initial thoughts on what you saw.
Well, it's obviously it's been a while for them. I think 2012 was the last time they came and beat them. So, and the seniors were talking about losing all 7 games, all 7 times they faced Darien, they came away with a loss. So to win this, especially for New Canaan seniors, to go out like that is great. But New Canaan really the whole the game, the defense. New Canaan's defense was just incredible. Carolyn O'Day was great in goal. Made 10 saves, a lot of them on free positions and close shots. And really, the defense in the midfield was a big key to this because Darien really never could get settled. New Canaan was tipping the ball away a lot, getting steals from behind, knocking down passes and things like that. And I never felt like Darien could get set up to run their usual offense, which is a credit to New Canaan's defense and the fact that the offense was pretty steady for the Rams. They possessed the ball well and kind of looked for their shots and didn't give Darien a lot of chances.
I mean, we've seen the Rams be in games against Darien in recent years where they've had a big lead at the half. They've been in control late but have let us slip away. What was the big difference last night compared to what we've seen in recent matchups over the past few years?
To be honest, it was really just when they tied it at 11-11, you had that feeling of, I think Braden Dial called it deja vu, like it's going to happen again here. But New Canaan was able to knock a ball away, cause a turnover, and then come right back down and score, which typically in the past when Darien has gone on a run like that and finally gotten to New Canaan, they pass them, and New Canaan might get a goal or two back at some point, but Darien never relinquishes that tie or the lead. In this case, New Canaan was able to respond pretty quickly, and I think you saw a little bit of a lift there when McKenna Harden scored to put them back ahead. They're like, okay, we can still do this. This isn't fading away like it normally is. So I would say that moment right there was really kind of the sign that, okay, this might be different than in the past.
Now, Dave, you mentioned McKenna Harden's big play there with 2:55 remaining in the second half. Just describe what the freshman has made, the impact that she's made on this roster this year that has led her Rams to the state final.
Yeah, New Canaan has a lot of weapons anyway between, people like Carly Bucci and Braden Dial and people like that. And Campbell Connors had a couple of goals last night. But McKenna is pretty refreshing because you get a freshman in there who you don't know what to expect from. Whenever a freshman joins a team, even a sophomore, you're never sure what they're going to do in big moments. And she's at times she's been the go-to person in certain games. Last night she only had the one goal, but obviously it was a big one. And she's been a key. She's another weapon on a team that had a lot of them to begin with. So when you get that, people aren't, opposing defenses weren't necessarily looking for her to do a lot this year. So I think that opened up some things for her. And then when they start keying on her, for some other people that are, seniors like Dial and Bucci and people like that.
All right, so the stage is set now. They'll play in their first ever Class L championship game against Ridgefield, playing in their first ever state championship game. It was a 7-6 battle during the regular season. Which way are you leaning in this one right now after what you saw last night?
At this point, obviously, Ridgefield's, done a heck of a job getting to the finals. They beat Greenwich. I think Carolyn Colonel called that beforehand. If I'm not mistaken, she told Kevin that. But, the way New Canaan played last night, if they're able to, you're on that emotional high, if they're able to regroup and, put that in the background and play like they did last night, I think New Canaan's on its way to a Class L championship here. The key would be not to just think because you beat Darien, you've got it won. You've beaten Ridgefield before, but it was a tough game at Dunning Field. And when you've got a player like Carolyn Colonel out there, she can do a lot of damage to any team, as she's shown. And I think it's New Canaan's game to lose. But that being said, it's a championship game. It's winner take all, and you just put everything out there. So I just think with New Canaan, it's the mindset. What do you go in as? You go in as we're the team that just beat Darien. It's all over. You could be in trouble.
Another big game tonight, of course. On the boys' side, it's Darien versus New Canaan in the semifinal game. What are the chances now you're giving the Rams? They came so close in the FCIAC final. Round 4 now. What are you giving the Rams?
You know, I like the Rams here for two reasons. I think they've played Darien tough twice, 9-7, and then the FCX final was 1 goal, 13-12. And I think what you saw in that game, I didn't get the feeling that this was the one time we played them close. This was our time to knock them off, and we didn't get it, so that was it. You know, I don't get that feeling from New Canaan's team. They looked fresh the other day against Prep. They looked good. They've got a lot of things working well for them. A lot of players getting involved, both offensively and defensively. And, you know, conversely, Darien had a Wilton team which was really driven the other day. But, you know, towards the end of that game, Darien looked a little banged up and a little bit back on their heels. Even Braemeier was saying he was disappointed with the way they finished because they looked like they were back on their heels a little bit, which is not typical of a Wave team. Now, some of it might have been, you know, the heat and humidity the other day was really tough on the players. And, you know, Wilton obviously had a great game, and you know, Sweeney had a great game at face-off. But I like the way New Canaan looks right now, and Darien just looks a little like back on the heels is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, and you mentioned that face-off circle. Nick Cravato has been as good as anyone in the state right now, so certainly a big advantage there. Just before we let you go here quickly, Dave, the New Canaan girls golf team wins their second straight state championship after winning a second straight FCX championship last year. Is this the best team that nobody is talking about right now in Connecticut?
Yeah, you know, I think they're a totally likable group. By the way, they're fun to root for. They're good, steady players. They're calm. They're cool out there. And, you know, sometimes I think Priscilla Schultz is just setting everybody up, like saying, we're not the favorite. There's no pressure on us. You know, Ward's a better team than us, or not a better team than us, but they're the real favorite. And then they go in and they win by 16 strokes in the FCX. They beat Ward in a playoff last night, or yesterday. And, you know, they're just really, they're very good. They're very solid. They graduated Tessa Piankowski last year, a senior, and those were some big shoes to fill. But this year they've had Carolyn Adio come in as a senior, first time on playing really steady varsity minutes, and then Julia Bazada, who's a freshman, who's played very well for them. So they filled the gap. They got people like Lauren Capone, Megan Mitchell's been incredible, and Morgan Hibbard, who are just really three steady players. So when you add those other two to the mix, I mean, that's what you get. You get a championship repeat.
All right. Well, it's been a really fun group to watch. You're absolutely right. And so another great year by them. Congratulations. Dave, we'll see you tonight up at Fairfield U for that game between New Canaan and Darien at 5 o'clock. As always, great job, and thank you for taking time with us today.
Thanks a lot, guys. It'll be fun tonight.
It certainly will. That was Dave Stewart, sports editor for the New Canaan Advertiser and Darien Times. We're going to take one more break on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, one of our interns, Josh Evans of Fairfield Ludlow, will join me. He caught up with the superstar runner at Fairfield Ludlow, Ian Bartlett, to preview his upcoming run to nationals, and that's next on the HAN Network.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
And welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, June 6th. It's a Wednesday. Frank Granito in studio, and happy to be joined now for the first time by our intern Josh Evans from Fairfield Ludlow. Good afternoon, Josh. Thanks for taking time with us, buddy. You just did your first feature piece. You chose Ian Bartlett of the track and field team at Ludlow. What was your thought process behind that decision?
You know, Ian's had such an illustrious career at Ludlow, you know, running for nationals 3 years in a row, running New England, states, all the biggest meets that he could possibly think of, but he runs it in such a sport that isn't as well covered as compared to the other spring sports like lacrosse and baseball. You know, track isn't as well covered, but I feel like it'd be a shame to have such a great career go unnoticed.
And it is not his first trip to nationals either. We caught up with the senior captain yesterday. Let's take a look at what we learned.
This is Josh Evans here with the HAN Network at the campus of Fairfield Ludlow High School. Alongside me is Ian Bartlett, star track runner for the Ludlow track team. Ian, how's your season going so far?
It's been going great so far. I mean, we just finished up with our state open meet yesterday and moving on to New England's nationals, so it's been going great so far.
Yeah, big congratulations to you. You've ran at nationals for the last 2 or 3 years. How's that experience been like?
It's been awesome. I mean, it's not something that you get to experience every year, and it's really it's been a goal of mine since my sophomore year, really, with my relay team. But running at nationals for some individual events has definitely been awesome.
Yeah, you've been part of the national scene, especially individuals, but even with that 4x8 relay team the last couple of years. What was that experience like with that team? What was the function of that team? How did it go?
It's really a special thing to have it individually, but I think it's even more fun with a team when you build that camaraderie and you're really down in North Carolina or you're in New York with the team the entire weekend, and it's just great to experience with my teammates. We go out to dinner, so it's a lot of fun.
You know, you've ran some of the biggest stages the high school track scene has to offer in FCX, states, and nationals. You know, how fun has that been? What has that experience been like?
It's been great, and especially with the competition, it definitely pushes you to a new level, and you're really able to meet some different kids from around the country, and it's pretty awesome because you don't really experience that every day running against kids from different states and different areas.
Yeah, Ian's also a part of the Fairfield Ludlow football team, playing running back and cornerback. How do you compare those two experiences, especially like amongst the team?
They're definitely pretty different. I would say the team, obviously, the team sport in football is definitely a different experience, but even the records, I mean, my track record compared to the football record, they're definitely polar opposites, but I mean, they both help each other. I mean, running can help in football because you got to stay conditioned, but then football definitely helps with the mental toughness when you're on the track.
Yeah, definitely. Ian just committed to Navy to run track and field next fall. What was the recruiting process like?
It's definitely different from any other recruiting process because there's a lot of different steps you have to take with the nominations from Congress, but it was definitely worth it, and it's something I'm really looking forward to in the fall.
What was it about Navy that really drew you towards it?
They've had a lot of success in their program. They also just got a new coach from the University of Oregon, so I went down there for a visit, and it was awesome, and the team's been doing well so far, so I'm really excited to join the team.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So you have states, or you ran states this last weekend, and you have New England this weekend. What's that going to be like?
Yeah, so New England's looking to improve my time again at New England's. It's going to be at University of New Hampshire, so it should be a great facility. So I'm looking to run some fast times there.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. All right, thanks for being with us today, Ian. Best of luck for the rest of the year. It's Josh Evans with HAN Network signing off.
All right, great work there, Josh. I want to start with this one first. You were teammates with Ian in the fall on the football team. Talk about him as a teammate, what he was like as a leader. I mean, what is it about him that allows him to be this persona that kids want to follow? Pardon the pun.
You know, the kid's awesome. You know, he had a big injury at the start of the year. He broke his hand, so he was out for the first 5 or 6 games. But he was always there on the sideline, like cheering us up, making sure like we're staying on a positive note coming off the field, especially after a drive. He'll be the first one to pick you back up. He's just somebody that everyone really wants to follow. He was always like the most positive guy you've ever met, and it's just one of the greatest teammates I've had.
And I'm assuming that he carries that same just nonchalant, laid-back kind of attitude in those tough situations of football as well as in track too?
Yeah, absolutely. He's relaxed, doesn't let anything bother him. He's extremely positive. You know, he's the first one to pick you back up when something goes wrong, and he'll be the first one to congratulate you when something goes well.
Very little goes wrong when he is running. As you look ahead to this national championship run, where do you see him fitting in amongst the rest of that group?
You know, I definitely think he could do well. He's an experienced there. He's ran there 2 or 3 times. You know, he's been running his whole life. This has been something he's prepared for all year, and I think he has a chance to do really well.
I mean, and certainly a kid with his head on straight attending the Naval Academy next year, so he knows what he's doing. You picked a great athlete, Josh, for your first feature. Great job on it, and we're looking forward to having you back on soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. That was Josh Evans. Great job by him. Want to thank again Dane Street and Dave Stewart for taking time with us. Boys lacrosse, boys baseball semifinals as action resumes tonight. Final week of the season for Kevin Coleman. I'm Frank Granito. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.